Welcome. My name is Sally Thurston from the Maynard Library. We are delighted tonight to be co-presenting this program with our friends from the Randall Library in Stowe. This is Tina, the director, and Scott, we'll get to in just a second. So this program and this whole series, the whole series.
It's disabilities and dyslexia.
Yeah, there we go. Is sponsored by a grant from the Libraries Transforming Communities, Accessible Small and Rural Communities, an initiative of the American Library Association in collaboration with the Association for Rural and Small Libraries, ARSL. So we got that out of the way. I did it. So it's my pleasure to introduce Scott Cumming. This is the second program he's done for us. Scott is a Stowe resident. He learned late in life that he had dyslexia after years of struggling with reading and writing and some blows to esteem. But he has made it his mission now to help other people with dyslexia. And to that end, he founded a nonprofit organization, Dyslexics Together. You can find that online. I'm sure you'll have a website somewhere. And he's here tonight to share some tools that make reading and writing a little bit easier.
That's right.
So take it away, Scott.
Thank you, Sally. Yes, my name is Scott Cumming, and 6 years ago, I discovered that I was dyslexic. I was diagnosed with dyslexia. So once after I was diagnosed, I started looking for information and resources for adult dyslexia. And there was almost nothing out there. Most of it was for children, almost nothing for adults. So 4 years ago, I decided to start a nonprofit called Dyslexic Together. And what I've done is gathered as much information as possible to put onto one portal so that people could go to it and get the information that they need, or also to see that there's other people out there and there's information for adult dyslexia. So tonight, I'm going to show you tools for dyslexia. The tools are going to be, I'm going to hit on all three spots: reading, writing, and spelling. The board, okay, I'm not going to be following the board as far as the information on here. It's here for you to see. I have the presentation in print over here, so you're more than welcome to pick one up at the end of the night so that you can go through it afterwards. So all that information is right over here. So before I start into the tools, 2 weeks ago I read an article on from WGBH, or it was GBH. It was on dyslexia in public schools. So I just want to read the article. How can Massachusetts help public school students with dyslexia? Between 5 and 20% of students in Massachusetts. You didn't really think I was going to read that, did you?
My turn.
Sally, would you mind reading this so I can understand this? Otherwise, you're not going to understand a thing I'm saying.
Oh, you didn't tell me I needed my glasses. That's okay.
You want me to read it?
Oh, no, that's okay. Okay. Massachusetts is failing to provide sufficient instruction to students with dyslexia. That's according to this recent reporting by the Boston Globe, which estimates that there could be up to 180,000 dyslexic students enrolled in state public schools. While there are federal standards for screening children with dyslexia required by Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, the issue lies in connecting children with the tailored instruction they need to learn how to read. Currently, Massachusetts does not mandate specific teaching methods for dyslexia. You need trained professionals to implement this type of teaching, and that's very expensive. Jennifer Curtis, the former superintendent of Weymouth Public Schools, told Boston Public Radio on Wednesday. Beyond cost, Curtis said there aren't enough teachers trained in effective methodologies for teaching dyslexic students to read. Dyslexia is a language-based learning disability caused by a neurological difference in how someone interprets written language into sound. To say the squiggle on this page makes this sound in the English language, that's a learned behavior, said Nancy Duggan, Executive Director of Decoding Dyslexia, Massachusetts. It's like learning to swim or basketball or playing the cello. People with dyslexia have a harder time making those connections. The key is early intervention. The younger we work with the students, the more likely we are able to help remedy and give them the toolbox and the skills they need to be successful readers as adults, said Curtis. Curtis and Duggan would like to see the Orton-Gillingham method used consistently in the Commonwealth's public schools. It's a systematic teaching method that uses phonics and explicit meaning and is approved by the International Dyslexia Association. Keep going.
Yeah, how much is that?
Do swear. Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay.
That was good.
Okay.
I mean, there's a copy of it in the presentation that you just picked up. So thank you so much for reading that.
You're welcome.
I wasn't thinking about how long that was. So my comments on it is that Massachusetts is the #1 education state in the country. They're the 5th, somewhere around the 5th largest, wealthiest state in the nation. I think that Massachusetts can spend a little money and help train these teachers, okay? These students go to public schools, okay? That means that whether you're a dyslexic or non-dyslexic, they're supposed to teach you, and I think that Massachusetts can do that. So that's all I want to say on that, but I just wanted to comment. I thought that was a great article. Thank you again, Sally. Okay. First tool. First tool is phone. Phone has changed my life. There's so many free tools on this phone. It's my daily life has changed. So one of the first things I'm going to show you is texting. Okay, I got to bring it up. Give me a minute. Sorry about this. The texting on it. Why am I having trouble? So as far as texting, and I know it's not up on the board there, but one of the things that I learned right off the bat was I went to the Verizon store. And one day I went in and I said to the guy there, I says, you know what, I heard that the phones can actually text messages for you by speaking. And he says, yeah, it's right there. I says, it's right there. He goes, yeah. He says, the microphone on the box. I says, oh. He goes, there's 2 of them. He goes, first there's the one with the outline. Okay, the outline, he says, records your speak, and then you can send that. He says, if you touch on the board, touch on the block, he said, there's another microphone and it's a solid. He says, if you hit the solid, he said, now when you speak, it'll type for you. And then it does it automatically for me. Now, how did I use this? 1, just texting made life so much easier. 2, when I start to type, there's also words that come up on the bar just above it. So that allows me to start typing, the word comes up, I'm very visual for the words, okay? So I may not be able to spell them, but I can see them, and I say, okay, that's the word, and I can understand it. So then I'll just hit on that. The other thing I use it for is spelling, everyday spelling. If I'm writing something down and I don't know how to spell it, which is almost everything, as soon as I hit on that block, I can just speak into it and say dyslexia. It'll spell it for me, and then I can write it down. The other thing this particular phone has is, so the older, this is an Android. I'm sure that the iPhone has all the same functions that the Android does. So I just picked this phone up a few weeks ago. My old phone did not have AI technology. This does. This is a Pixel. Right in the front is a bar. That bar has a microphone. So I don't even have to go on to the text thing. I just hit the bar, hit the mic, spell dyslexia. It's even spelling it for me and it shows it. Okay? This is such a great tool. I use it every day. If I want to know what the definition of dyslexia is, all I have to do is say definition of dyslexia. And it'll actually read to me the definition of dyslexia. So this is a great tool. If you haven't used it, there's one other feature to it. So this will actually speak back to you. If you go to accessibility and you go under speech to text or text to speech, you can set that up. It's very easy. I actually have, that's the form I have over here. I have both iPhone and Android over here. You just go to accessibility. As soon as you hit that, you scroll down a little bit and it says speech to text. You hit on that and there's two choices. One of the choices is to read the whole page at once. And I think that's for somebody who's blind. The other feature is a highlight feature. So you can just highlight it and then it'll read it for you. So that's another feature on the phone, all free. All free. So that's the phone. Okay, the C Pen. So here's the C Pen. This is the box it comes in. Let's open it up and see what it has. All right? So first, the pen has a case for it. There's the pen. And it comes with a charger and earphones. And then it comes with every dyslexic nightmare, a manual. So this pen reads a line, okay? It has a display on it. I'll show you that. It has a pointer on it. It lights up, and it will read a line for you. And we're going to read a line. So I have a book, Overcoming Dyslexia, by Sally Sherwitz. They were the original, I want to say, authors. Back in the 70s, they started doing a whole bunch of research on dyslexic students, and they followed them through, wrote a bunch of books. They're the kings of starting dyslexia and bringing it to the forefront. Really, Yale University, they're from Yale University. So I'm sure it's a great read. I've listened to some of the book on audiobooks. You can get it everywhere. Okay, so I'm going to turn it on. So there's just a little on button. So we'll turn it on. Shows you C Pen. These are miniature computers, so it takes a minute for them to boot up. So the one thing the pens do have,
for other options,
they have different options that you can use on them. One is they have a dictionary, has a recorder, has a couple other functions. All I wanted to do is read. That's it. All right. For me, I feel it wasn't designed by a dyslexic. I think it was just designed by somebody who wanted to help dyslexics. But again, when I get this, and it's not easy to read. I think that it could have been a lot easier to read. So, once you get to this, it's highlighted, the reader. We're just going to click on the reader. It's ready to scan.
Press menu for options.
So what I'll do is I will, so you want to hold it not quite square, just a little up. There's the probe. See, it lights up, and just go easily across it. When you're done, you pull it off. So it just showed
Neural signature for dyslexia.
exactly what it just printed. Did everybody hear that? Okay. Well, I've run machinery my whole life. The volume's turned up all the way. Guess what?
You can't hear.
I can't hear it. Okay? Even when I put the earphones on, I can't hear it. So, my opinion is it's designed for children. Children have great hearing. And another thing is they also are good with technology. Okay? So, I think this is good for a child up to like 8 years old. Easy books. As an adult, I want to read the whole page. You have to read, if I was to read this, I would have to scan every single line. I'd have to scan the line, listen to it, scan the next line, listen to it. For me, it doesn't work. But I'm sure there's some applications that will, again, for kids, right? Because kids have simpler books. So that's the C pen. Then we'll just power it down. Maybe. There it goes. Save text. No. And then power off. Yes.
It did sound like it wasn't a robot. So that's
It wasn't bad,
yeah,
what I could hear.
yeah.
Okay? So that's the C pen. And we'll have questions at the end. Yeah, we'll just put this over here.
And comparatively, it's on the cheaper side.
Oh, that's right. Thank you for mentioning that. So the pen, this pen is $300. This pen. And these pens, both these pens, will be available at Randall Library to check out. I have 1 C pen and 3 Orcams. Okay? So after tonight, if you'd like to check one out,
We're good.
Tina's the person to see. Okay, so now the Orcam. So it comes in this really neat box. The user guide. My worst nightmare, right there. Enjoy reading. I think they were trying to be funny, okay? Because there's no way that I can read this whole book. So I wanted to make a statement about that. They're needing a little bit of practice to get used to, okay? And you may want to ask someone to help you navigate through the directions. These do a lot. This is a miniature computer. So here's what the Orcam looks like. This is the Orcam Read. It has a camera in the front and has buttons on the side. And it takes a few seconds to boot up. So while that's doing that, I'll show you what else it comes with. So again, this nice case, It's got the cord. And it's got a carrying case too. So it makes it a lot easier. Take it out of here and you can put it in the carrying case. Okay.
Perfect.
The other feature
100%.
that this has,
Version 9 is ready.
okay,
100% charged.
this has a Bluetooth. The C Pen does not have a Bluetooth. So that was a big difference for me. Okay, because I can now use this. Again, because of my hearing. The other thing that this uses is the AI technology. I don't know exactly how it uses it, but what it does is it takes a picture of the page, and then it obviously reads it, and then reads it to itself, and then reads it back to us. This has a lot of functions. All I really want it for is to read. That's why I got it. So it has two different reading modes. One, it frames what you want to read, and the other, it has a pointer. So I think I have it. We'll see which one I have it on, and let's see what we got here. We'll pick another page from here, or a small paragraph. So we'll just kind of. So it has this. So once it's started, you can see that it shows that it's 100%. This little start button, you hold it down, and you'll see how it frames, and then you let it go, and it just took a picture.
As have no, one not, 2. Skip 2 lines of unreadable text. To Darwin, skip 1 line of unreadable text.
Okay, so it's telling me it didn't like how I read it. So we'll try it again.
Not really can or be alpha.
No. So we'll try it again.
Everyone speaks, but not everyone reads. To notice this, since spoken language is built into our genes and takes place automatically, its segmental nature is not part of our consciousness. Furthermore, as a result of coarticulation.
So as you can see, it just will read what you marked out. So the other function is a pointer. So you can narrow in on or expand it more, and I'll show you that. You just push down the plus and the minus for the volume. Now it has the pointer.
Earmore, hamstring its underlima the segmental nature of spoken particles of spoken language. Phonemes, and can now attach the appropriate written letters.
So there it goes, it just continues to read for you.
Paper, but have been transformed into something.
Takes a little bit of work.
Language.
As you can tell, I kind of started in the middle here, could have started at the top.
All accepted by the knob.
And then it's just push it again and it'll stop for you. So that's what I want the OrCam to do for me. If I had a magazine, it would read the small articles in magazines. It really does exactly what I want it to, and that is read the text that I want. The cost. Everybody sitting down? $1,800. Expensive. But we have 3 of them at the library for you to check out, to try out if you want to purchase one. Not from us, obviously. But so that's the OrCam.
And did you look at YouTube videos?
Oh, thank you for reminding me. Okay. So I went on to YouTube to look for video from the manufacturer. I wanted the manufacturer to post something. I found nothing from the C-Pen, okay? Nothing from the manufacturer. So I was very disappointed in that. But in the OrCam, I did find videos, and they were helpful They were short, they were a little bit quick, but it gave me some direction, especially when the user manual was so difficult to read. So it was definitely helpful. And then I kind of navigated it a little bit, and I got this part of it to work. Now,
Suspending. Press again to shut down.
this will do a lot. I don't have the knowledge
Ready.
to learn all about it, but somebody who is computer savvy could definitely figure it out. Your 10-year-old will figure this out in a minute, okay? But as an adult, I struggled with some of the other features, and they're on there. So you can definitely learn more with the C Pen and do a lot more with it. I know it has the dictionary. It will do speech recognition also, so you don't have to, so you can set that part of it up, so it'll just automatically do whatever you want it to do with speech. The C Pen will only read printed text. The OrCam, we're saying that it'll read printed text, but it says it'll also print digitally. I did not try it digitally.
Ready. Commit.
So that's something that you can try. So that's what I got as far as the pens go. Next, I'm going to talk about AI technology. So I called a friend, or texted a friend, I should say, and asked him, what AI technology should I sign up for? And immediately he said, ChatGPT. I said, okay. Now, I was obviously very skeptical. You know, you don't know where your information's going. I didn't know how much information they wanted. So I kind of looked into a couple of the technologies. This one stores information here in the US. The other ones that I looked at, was 2 or 3 of them, were outside the US. So that must be why he told me to go with this one. So what do we do when we sign up? It was extremely simple. Put my name in, I put my email in, my date of birth, and then it sent a verification email with a number. I just plugged that into the website, and I was in, just like that. It was that easy, simple. Next thing I know, a bar came up, and it asked me a question. What do you want to know? So the first thing I did was type in, how can you help adult dyslexia? And it came up with a lot of different information. And I was like, oh, this is great. I started looking down it, and I was curious to know what mind mapping was. I didn't know what that was. So I typed in, what is mind mapping? And it came up with the definition of mind mapping. So this is such a great tool. It gives you the information that you want. You can type in anything that you want, a recipe, and it'll ask you, you know, how can I help you more? So I'm not going to go into, again, all of what it can do as far as for adult dyslexia, but you can go and check it out yourself and pick the category that you want to do more research on. So next what I did was I put in, can't read a paragraph or rewrite my paragraph. And it said, certainly. It said, but what I don't do is pull from files. You have to insert your information, your paragraph. I said, okay. So I did. I wrote a paragraph, and I put it into the text box, and it rewrote for me. It has a feature where if you don't like what it wrote for you, you can regenerate over and over, and it'll rewrite it for you. So I did it like 2 or 3 times, the paragraph that I put in, and it still wasn't coming out right.
Yeah.
And I know I don't have a slide for it, but on the bottom it shows a thumbs up and a thumbs down. I said, okay, I'm gonna hit the thumbs down and see what it says. I hit the thumbs down and it said, okay, what do you want me to change? And I put in, I want it to be friendly. It rewrote it friendlier, but it also put what the original paragraph was, and then the friendly one. And it asked if you like it. You know, so I said, no, I wanted more empathy. It changed it again and softened it up even more. Now you can use this in any aspects. You can say that I want it more professional, and it'll write it more professional. I mean, this tool, for someone like me, I have a very difficult time getting my thoughts down on paper. So I can write a few sentences with some words of what I want in that paragraph, and it'll show me what it is. He said, this is your choices. So what I actually did on a paragraph that I was looking to work on is I took some of the lines that they gave me, some of my lines, and I came up with a paragraph that fit me perfectly. I was like, okay, this is what I was thinking. They gave me the words that I needed. Boom, it came up. So, as far as the dyslexic goes, this is such a powerful tool. I know there's a lot of information on how AI is used the other way, in a negative way. I'm showing you how it can work in a positive way, and definitely will help with dyslexics. So I took it a step further, and I wrote in, let's see, let me get my note on that. I wrote in, what is the overall opinion of the C-Pen? I wanted to see what information was out there because I was having a difficult time with it. I was like, okay, let me see what they have to say. And sure enough, it sort of said the same thing I mentioned to you. It takes some time to get used to. It does work, but it's helpful if you have somebody who knows technology until you get used to it. So it's not as easy as just 1, 2, 3. That was the other thing I was going to mention about the pens. I don't know if I already said this, but what I think they should do as far as directions go and a user manual, when you buy a TV, right, or even a computer, they get the instructions. It has a big picture and a very small sentence on it that says, you know, do this. Then go to this. I mean, it's all visual with pictures. If this was designed by a dyslexic, they would have had a scale, 1 to 3, 1 to 5. 1 being basic, 5 being the toughest. And I believe that that's what these pens should have had. They should have had directions, a manual that was easy for someone like myself. That's where they went wrong. So that's how I feel about that. Okay. So that actually is the end of the presentation. Are there any questions? Sally?
For ChatGPT, can you incorporate a speech to text to fill in the text box? I mean, can you just speak and have it write to capture what you're saying and then generate a paragraph?
That's a really good question.
Because it seems like that would be a whole lot easier for you.
Yes. So I'm hoping in the future that I can get a hold of a techie guy or gal. The computers have speech to text built in, a lot of them. And I use it some. I haven't experimented enough with them, but I haven't experimented with that because it's built into the computers. But I'm assuming that yes, you can do that because they have that technology right now. So it's just a matter of me working with somebody to make sure to work with that, with AI technology. Oh, any other questions? Yes.
Do you know of any other pens, or are these the only two on the market? Or are these just the two that you've tried and tested?
These are the two that I've tried, but these are the two that are most common and actually.
There are definitely different versions of the Orcam, the black one that I saw. I don't remember now why we didn't buy those. I think we did research and we decided that this one was the best to start with.
Okay.
Yeah, because of the reading end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there languages on that one or no? Because I saw others that had languages, multiple languages.
Yeah.
It-
I think this one is just one language, isn't it?
I think that you're right, but you can take a look at the manual before you leave. I'm sure. But I know that, I saw it on one of them that there was language that could be changed. In fact, I know this one can, because I know that I had some fun with the user manual, but actually, if you look at all the tabs, those are all different languages, okay? So this one definitely can, and there's like 10 different languages on here. So I would say the answer is yes, on at least the Orcam. Yeah, there was a bunch different ones on the Orcam. As far as different brands, I know there's a couple other brands, but these I know are the two leaders.
Okay.
Yeah.
These are the two leaders.
I've seen one advertised on some social media, and I just don't remember the brand, so I was wondering if it was an additional one or one of these.
Yeah.
Also, do you know of any other, my library's Westford, do you know if all libraries carry these, or just yours, or do you have any idea?
I don't know for sure, but we did this through a grant, so we got the money to do it. So that's why we bought, and we bought so many of the Orcam because they were so much better than the C-Pen.
I can go look.
Yeah, please.
I don't know, I didn't check.
That's a really good question.
Yeah, I believe that we're one of the only ones in the nation doing this. How's that? That's how much confidence I have.
And so if I don't have a membership to your library, do you do interlibrary loans for this type of thing, or do I need to get, my daughter has dyslexia, so
Okay.
rather than spend,
Yeah,
rather than spend 1,800, we should try,
Right. Well, that's what's so
That's
special.
why, that's the beauty of what,
$1,300.
I'm sure you, like the library of things, right? So if you don't want to go out and buy a certain type of drill, just come to the library, check it out, see if you like it, right?
Right.
And that's the reason why we're doing this, because I think, it's a big expense if it's not gonna work for your kid or your spouse or whatever, so.
Right.
Yeah,
You're referring to the Stowe Library, not this library, right?
that's right. Yeah, but we're part of the same network, so if you wanted to borrow it, you could. Yeah.
Is Westford?
I'm trying to remember. I'm sure Sally will know.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of.
The Minuteman,
Oh, yeah,
Are you
that-
Minuteman?
Yeah, I think that's.
yeah, the Minuteman Network,
Okay,
that's
so
what
they-
we're all part of.
Good, okay.
There's-
Yeah, here, but very close to, like Stowe, the other side of Stowe is Bolton, they're not Minuteman.
Okay.
So it depends where you are.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I'm sure we can arrange
Yes.
for you to check one out.
Okay.
Okay, I don't think that will be a problem whatsoever, and I'm sure we could work with, even here, with Maynard, and
And
Sally,
honestly-
and Jean.
And sincerely, I mean this, if in your own research you find that something works, like, we want to know.
Yeah.
Because this is an ongoing process, and
Yeah.
we still have money that we can spend. So if there's other tools, we're looking for any kind of feedback. That's
Definitely,
what our purpose is, to try
Right.
to find tools that are easier to use.
yeah.
So,
I mean,
do you know anything about insurance coverage? I wonder.
Ooh, I
With
don't
the
know.
diagnosis of dyslexia, depending on insurance, probably, well, I didn't know if that was now that these are new, so they're probably, if insurance companies aren't covering or aren't contributing to the purchase of one. Maybe that's something that will help.
That's a really good question. We'll look into that.
Assistive devices are covered from a lot of
Yeah,
insurance
that's
companies.
right.
This is an assistive device of
It is.
sorts, I
Yeah.
guess.
Good thing to ask.
Yeah.
It is.
Definitely, definitely. And dyslexia is under the Disability Act. So there are, information and
Could be a.
yeah, there's stuff available for
I'd
that.
have to fight with the insurance company if they didn't want to and say, you know what? You should.
I mean, we kind of call it a neurological difference, but the whole community calls it a disability. We're trying to, neurodiversity is what we're trying to bring out more, because,
It is. I mean, we did dyslexic, we did another series last month with dyslexic advantage from England. And they use the word strength all the time. It's a dyslexia is a strength. It
Yeah.
has its challenges, but it's a strength, and they're very,
Yeah.
it all is like in the wording of how, I do have a question, if you don't mind me asking. How have you found the school systems to be for your child? Yeah. that's
okay,
what I
so
thought.
you understood that.
They give her zero support.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
had a 10-page report written by her, the
Evaluator.
evaluator, a private assessment from a physician. And the school says, oh no, she's just doing fine. We will not give her any services or any additional help whatsoever.
So all the research at this point,
It's just great.
again, I lived 56 years of believing I was born stupid. 100%. I didn't get involved in anything, okay, until my diagnosis of dyslexia. And my life did a 180, okay? I said, other people have to know that they're not stupid. No one should live like I did their whole life. It's one of these things that I know I wasn't stupid, but society tells me I'm stupid. Everything around you is reading and writing and stuff. If you can't do that, you're not smart. But that's not true. The skill levels that I have are so beyond the reading and writing, it's ridiculous. And you hide it too.
Right.
You hide it. I mean, I didn't tell anybody my whole life that I couldn't read or write a spell. Spelling is my worst. That's why I had a little fun with it. But yeah, I mean, this phone is incredible. But yeah, no, my whole life I felt that way. And I feel for your daughter.
We'll start. My friends live in Carlisle. She was supposed to be here tonight. Her third child got sick, but they do help. Her daughter has dyslexia, and she gets special services at school for it. Westford. So it depends on the town too, but it's nice that certain towns will offer, will give the training, additional pull-out work and whatever,
The best thing you can do is be the biggest, loudest advocate for your child. Every single day. Every day. All the research now is pointing to, instead of saying your child is just slow, they'll pick it up. First grade, second grade, third.
Right.
But they're still having trouble. We're working on it, but they're
For
just,
years, they were following her for just like, oh, we're following her, but she'll outgrow it. We think and they would never diagnose. And then
Okay.
she's going to middle school next year.
that stuff, I just got chills. That stuff gives me chills.
Yeah.
It does.
Because they don't want to pay for additional, the school doesn't want to pay for specialized
So
training.
is it
for
like
her.
a no child left behind mentality? Like, oh, she's fine, let's just keep pushing her forward?
She does well. She does well in school, but it's a lot harder for her. Spelling, writing, reading. But she's still, they say she does good enough. She's able to keep up with her peers. Like, okay, great. But it's still a challenge to her if we could remove this challenge by giving additional supports.
Yes.
Imagine where she could be, where
Yes.
she
They're not
would
even
fit.
being aware of their difficulties.
What?
They're not even aware of her
They're not
challenges.
acknowledging.
Acknowledging.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the other thing is the schools,
Citizenship.
they don't have the option of testing for dyslexia.
Right, yeah.
So they cannot
They
say
can't diagnose or.
the diagnosis of dyslexia.
Yeah.
Right, because they're not doctors
Right,
that do
So that's
that.
what we pay for.
That's another thing that really upsets me.
Yeah, we've been
Okay.
looking into trying to find some sort of testing. to
Yes,
know,
yes, we have
Not
talked
that they
about
would take it as a word, but it'd be nice to have. I mean, there are some free tools, but it's not really it.
We're gonna work on that more. I mean, we're huge advocates, obviously, for this. I'm here to help as much as possible,
It's very disconcerting to hear your story though, because you're
Yes.
talking about 50-year gap here.
Right.
And it's still happening.
and it's still happening today. That story,
That's very,
100%. That's why I wanted that story to be read this morning. Or this, first, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I just want to say, like, this article says the teacher should be trained in Norton Gillingham, but but they haven't been even, teaching just systematic explicit phonics and phonemic awareness instruction, and that's what they should have been doing. And if somebody's behind in first grade, that's when you want to catch it.
right.
So they need to, and they are changing, thank goodness. Like a name just started changing according to what I read on their website. But, they have to stop teaching ineffective methods. It's
Right, I
really-
think when I went to school, they did teach, we had phonics,
Right.
and then they, I don't know why, but did get away from teaching that. And I'm hearing that they are starting to get back to
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
So, go ahead. I know you were at my last presentation. Type in sold the story.
Yeah.
Write that, have you heard of that? Sold the story.
Yeah.
And a reporter in New York City exploded exactly what you just talked about and brought it to the forefront. And the school systems, after the phonics was pulled out and this other system was put in place, they've now gone back to the phonics because 20 years of students, non-dyslexics, couldn't learn. It's a podcast. And it's the saddest story that you want to hear. Right? It's horrible. It's horrible. But they've changed back. And yes, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, that's the time. Instead of saying the student's just, a little behind, no. Be tested, get them the help they need right then. Because once they get into like fourth grade,
It's already too far.
you've already lost. I thoroughly am convinced that I didn't even get glasses until the 5th grade. So not only did I have dyslexia, undiagnosed dyslexia, I couldn't even see what I was writing. So I lost the first 5-6 years of early education. So there's no catching up. There was no catching up.
What did you find out?
So Belmont appears to have a reading pen. It's only for Belmont residents. That's the only one I could find, but I didn't do I don't know that one. I did reading pen and reader pen,
Yeah.
and that's all I found.
Okay.
Although Wellesley came up and somebody else, but they have all of their library things all as one
Right.
item saved.
Yeah.
Terrible cataloging. Belmont is all I could find.
Okay.
What town do you live in?
Westford.
Westford? Okay. Well, I'm sure we can at least do some research on that.
It's
Help.
worth suggesting to them.
Yeah, I will. I
If
think
they're, a lot of libraries are looking for things to put in their library things.
Yeah, I think
So-
they would be.
But I could take your name and just check one out to you and send it to the library there.
And even
I'd like
the
to.
Westford Education Foundation, a bunch of my friends work or volunteer for that, and they're always looking for, they have grants for stuff like this, so I think
Good
that might
idea to
be,
suggest
put a
to
little
them.
bug in there,
Yeah.
hey.
There you
systems
go.
They don't want to help with dyslexia.
Or like
We
I
maybe
said,
could-
if you find another pen or
Mhm.
something else that's
Yeah.
better.
Okay.
One
Right.
of those too.
Right. But at least you could
Try it out.
try this out and see how you like it.
Right,
That's really important. And I think she's gonna love it.
yeah.
It really, I really liked it, that's why we bought 3 of them. You know, I thought it did exactly what I wanted it to do anyway. I did want to say a few things at the end here. I wanted to thank, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Good question, sorry.
Sure, of course.
You're not done.
Yeah, that's right.
Unless you want to say what you're going to say.
No,
Okay.
no.
Number one, thank you very much for talking to us. I think it's really neat.
Thank you.
Small backgrounds. I went through a childhood. I got diagnosed early with many things. Went through the school system. I actually kind of abused, not to say abused the system, but like I saw that there's extended this and there's extended that, and I took advantage of it and I used it. And I'm curious on how sometimes tools can be taken advantage of. And are you scared that some child will be able to just use this as a crutch?
Okay.
I started coming up like a different way at it, and like I think it's super cool. I love technology, but I'm just curious, like if you get used to this, do you think it will worsen or better? Like how do you improve? Like you rely on GPS all the time, and I don't think I get to my neighbor's house.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a really good question. That's really, I appreciate
And
that.
I don't try, like my wife hates me because I play devil's advocate all the time. She's like, stop. I was like, no, but like I appreciate what you're doing. So that's I'm
No,
just
it's,
Yeah.
so I was thinking too, does it recommend there to, when you're using the pen, although the first pen, are you supposed to follow along when it's reading to you, or even when you take the snapshot, are you supposed to follow along while it's speaking
Yeah.
to assist with that as opposed to, you know? so I
exactly.
think-
And then you just pause there. Your notes is there.
Right, will
What-
that help at all, or
what-
is it, yeah.
or you just coast it.
Right.
Because I coasted all the way through. I'm sorry.
No, but I think that as a dyslexic, okay, I will never be cured.
Oh, that's yeah.
Okay? I have dyslexia. I haven't been able to spell for over 60 years. Okay? I went to the school system. The phonics definitely helps. I have, and again, it's me, and not all dyslexics are the same. I have what's called phonological trouble. And the phonological trouble is that I don't see the letters right, and I don't see, and I don't hear the sounds correctly. When they go into my brain, it doesn't connect. The neurons don't connect on my left side of my brain. So that's why I have so much trouble when I'm reading. I'll read a sentence, and I'll say to myself, that didn't make any sense at all. And I'll have to reread that sentence 2 or 3 times until I get the meaning of that word. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. But does listening to it, I'm not trying to be rude, but does listening to it help you comprehend it more?
So
Or
I
twice?
can't
Or-
say that always for me. When I'm listening to it, I have to look at it at the same time. So I have to have that book in front of me. If I'm just listening to it, my mind will drift.
And I'm the same way though, and I'm
Yeah,
not
me too.
dyslexic.
Is that right?
I can't
Yeah.
listen to a book. My
Me too.
coworkers listen to books all day long when they're working. I don't pay attention. Drive to work, try to listen to something.
Yeah.
Doesn't even, I
I've
don't
heard a
even
lot of
comprehend
people
it.
say that.
So-
Interesting.
Just can't stay focused on it.
I can't.
Right, right.
But I would think, and I'm just putting my 2 cents in to play your role here, isn't the concern with ChatGPT and all these things is that kids are gonna go, oh, I need a term paper on.
That's where I was gonna go
Do they
next.
call them that
But I
anymore?
didn't.
Right, like, write me an article, a paper on George Washington, there's always that.
Mm.
But I guess we could just type in ChatGPT, how do we prevent this? Or how do we?
Well, right, maybe it'll tell us how not to, but.
Right,
I mean,
right.
it's a valid, and with every technology, it's a
Yeah.
valid point of it overtaking real.
They've actually talked about that, and they might put some type of background in the paragraph or the paper.
The digital watermark.
Yeah, like a watermark, that was the word I was looking for. A watermark, so that kids can't cheat that way. So that is in the process, I've heard. It hasn't happened yet.
But that means you won't, okay, sorry, tell me.
Well, then what they can do is get the information, and they would have to rewrite it if they wanted to do the
You
whole
also don't
thing.
trust your child as well, if that's the case too. That's another story. But-
But Massachusetts also, kind of going with the same, and talking to you about your daughter, Massachusetts has some law on the books that if you have dyslexic diagnosis, you're allowed X amount of time more in testing. It is on the books. And as far as the reading part of it, and the cheating part of it, there used to be, when I was in school, you couldn't have any help with any test or reading any information, okay? The thing is today you can, and it isn't cheating because you still have to do the test and get the quiz or test right. You still have to give the information. Now, you can't go to IT and ask them for the answer, obviously.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you get a paper and you have one of these and it reads it for you, well, you still have to think about, again, I'm not stupid. So if this thing reads for me and it reads a question and it reads me the answers, I say, okay, I have to pick an answer. Or I have to write an answer. Now, if that writing is with voice to text, I'm not cheating. I'm just using voice to text to write my answer. I'm not using AI to get my answer. So I think these are just great tools for kids. Dyslexics have a different way of thinking. NASA, 50% of their employees has dyslexia.
Wow.
There's many large companies right now looking at dyslexics and autism. Autistic children and adults, they see patterns that the normal person doesn't see. Dyslexics, what I see in machinery and diagnosing is off the charts every day.
Yeah.
Again, I'm just one person, and I can't speak for every dyslexic because there's different degrees of dyslexia. But once I was diagnosed with dyslexia, I realized at that point that the reading and the writing and the spelling was a very small part of my life. That's what your child needs to understand, which they won't for a while, is that the talent that your child has, I would just bring out whatever that is, because the reading and the writing will just follow that. If it's, animals and horses or cars or whatever that is, it's huge, because that's what I did. I dove into my work. I was a printer for 35 years. And what I did with printing was amazing. I was, right at the top. I didn't have to read my stuff. I didn't read anything I printed. So I just concentrated on what the printed material was. And that's what, what made me so great at what I did. Any other questions?
I have one question about, you said you had another speaker here a month or so ago, speaking
Oh,
about.
we did, it was Dyslexic Advantage. Jonathan, did we take that?
You have it.
It was oh, I do.
You have it.
I do.
Because you sent it to me.
Okay, yes, they're out of UK. They wrote the book Dyslexic Advantage. Burnett and Brock something. What's their
Edie.
last name? Eddie.
Eddie. If you leave an email,
Yeah, I was going to get.
because I know you sent it to me, it was recorded.
Right.
They have a book out.
No, they didn't want, they didn't want it on YouTube.
That's right, that's right.
So, yeah, okay.
You can send that presentation to
Yeah,
them, to her. Yeah, that was a good presentation. It got technical. It definitely got technical. And he even said, I commented on it at the end, I said, well, this section, you kind of lost me. He goes, yeah, we know. In the book also, they told us to chapter 3 and put it to the back of the book because it was way too technical. We're like, well, we left it in there. So there's some technical, but there's some, I mean, they were very good. I mean, they're 100% into dyslexia. Both of them went to, I think, Harvard.
I remember.
I know she did.
Yeah.
So they even knew the area. Whether that means anything, this was their study. So I was glad to know that. It was a good. Yeah, we'll see if we can get it to you. That was a good
Do you have
presentation.
another presentation planned, or what's coming next to the project?
No, we're working on it. We're working on another
Yeah.
presentation.
But if people want to leave
Yeah.
email addresses,
That would be great.
Tina will.
Yeah, and I also have a sign up there if they want,
Oh,
whatever.
perfect. They're
Yeah.
good.
That way we can get you some more information, whatever you want. You can email us. Tina can give you her email to her, you can use mine. I mean, if you ask me a question, I'm just gonna turn around and probably answer it.
Yeah,
So, anyway, before we stop, did we stop yet? I just want to thank the American Library Association for this grant that paid for these tools. Next, I want to thank Sally and Jean here at Maynard Library for allowing us to be here to hold this presentation. Jonathan from Stowe TV recording this, and of course, Tina, the library director at,
Well, we are in temporary space.
Yeah.
Space half this size for the whole library, so Sally was gracious enough to let us come.
but
here.
Tina wrote the grant and sent it in.
I know.
Thank you, I know you did, but
You're welcome.
you were the ones who came and offered it to me. So, again, if it wasn't for all her hard work, we wouldn't be here today talking about tools. So, thank you for coming.
Thank you.